Hello and welcome along to Villa TV and to Match Day Live. It's another big night under the lights. This time around it's Juventus, the old lady of Italian football, who roll into town. Aston Villa trying to go 3 from 3 at home, already 9 points on the board and winning 3 of their 4 Champions League fixtures so far. My name is Tracey, and as you can see before me, I have a stellar lineup. Not 1, not 2, but 3 former villains. Alan McInally, as per usual, Stiliyan, Petrov and Hendrie making his matchday debut. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
No pressure, Stiliyan, no pressure.
Got to live up to these expectations, which is very low bar, very low.
It's going to be tough.
Good. I'm pleased to see that you're staying warm anyway.
Yes, of course.
Definitely so. Stiliyan, great to see you back again and really look forward to this one.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, listen, Champions League nights, the atmosphere will be busy. And our Villa done really well so far in the Champions League, so I think there's another special night ahead of us, because the team, I know the results haven't been great, but they've been playing well, just conceding soft goals, and I think if they get this thing right, I think that it will be an exciting night.
And Stiliyan makes a good point there, Alan, because of course Aston Villa, they've been hitting a little bit of a stalemate across a few competitions now, but it just feels a different atmosphere, the blue of UEFA all around the ground, and this is a good opportunity to almost have another fresh start for Villa.
Of course it is. I mean, I woke up this morning and I'm excited again, because we got past Saturday. It was disappointing. if Yuri scores the pen right on half-time, I think we win the game. So we take the point, we move on. It's an undefeated, I suppose, in the league. We have to take the positives out of a game that I think we probably could have played a little better. And now we play Juventus. We've already had Bologna and Bayern here. We've turned them over, and I think Stiliyan's right. This is going to be a huge night, and the guys will have to, 10-8. I want them to be bursting out the door here, because they need to start really quickly tonight to put them on the back foot, to remind them that there's big teams have come here and gone away with nothing.
And the atmosphere that you just touch upon there that we're expecting, Stiliyan, from the nights that we've seen so far of the Champions League at Villa Park, they've been like nothing else. The fireworks, the tifo, everything that we've had.
It's different than our time.
We'd sparkle.
Just one sparkler.
We'd little sparklers.
Now is the show, the social media, the fireworks, the flags, everything makes us even more special. So this is what it's all about. The European football is different.
And by the way, it's an important game for us tonight, guys, isn't it?
Of course.
You know what I mean? We're talking about the disappointment. Okay, it's only 2-2 against Palace, because we're in a position now where we think we might take the game. Juve's come to town, we're like, hey, come on, let's go.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, listen, coming to Villa Park's special anyway, isn't it? And I think these are the nights that we've all been destined to see. The fans have been waiting for, and I think you've touched on the Bayern game in particular, where the atmosphere is absolutely immense.
Here we go. Here we go.
And one thing we've become accustomed to on this show is getting hit by the sprinklers. This is something that has happened on a regular occurrence, unfortunately, for our sake. Because of UEFA rules, we have to be on that bit earlier. So, Alan, who did you insult this time around to get sprinkled?
Listen, I'm not sure, but listen, as you were talking and Lee was talking there, I just could see it little halfway thinking, because remember, we got done before, actually, exactly the same thing. Listen, that's okay. It's the only little bit of rain we'll be seeing tonight.
By the way, I was worried about my spray tan getting that was awesome.
The frizz of my hair.
I've just seen Stiliyan grab the back of his hamstring. I've never seen him.
That was the fastest.
He's on the sideline. We've got to sideline him now. Now, Lee, of course, you know what these European nights are like. Now, our monitor has just gone under there, so you can't see this, but we're going to show you that famous goal you spoke about in the podcast between you, San Collymore, Atletico Madrid. What was that like?
Oh, my word. I mean, it was phenomenal. The evening was, it just takes me back every time I ever come back to Villa Park. I mean, it was a special game for me anyway, but the goal in particular, we were really up against it, and we needed to obviously to win the game.
Here we go.
And this is it where Stan, he absolutely, I think the goal frame was still shaking, but it was, honestly, that moment there, I think I ran and got the football, because I thought we are going to go and win this game, because we were really pushing Atletico to the wire, and then just that goal alone, just brought every bit of spark. The whole end in particular, you just see it here as Stan strikes his ball, just see the fans lift. It's some finish anyway, but to score at the whole end, I'd claim that as a little assist, Macri, if that's all right.
But
it was, it was some evening, and you know, it makes the hair stand up on the back of my neck even talking about it, because this is a special place and this is what the club's been waiting for, back in Europe tonight against Juventus. Nothing better.
And you say about when you have a Holt end really onside, you can almost feel the ball being sucked into the goal. I think you mentioned that on the podcast as well.
Yeah, well, it's like having another player on the pitch. I mean, the atmosphere, when the fans get behind you, there's nothing better, because you get a feel factor when you're out on the field. And as I said, we were really pushing to go and get that goal. Stan went and got it, and then you actually think, right, can we go and do it? I mean, this place erupted that evening, and I missed a great chance to go and get the winner, which I don't really want to go to.
Is it haunting you slightly? I can tell.
Yeah, it's disappointing, and I've been over and over that moment so many times, and wished I could gone back in time and stuck it in the far corner, because I would have been nothing better than just to score that third goal and run and jump and celebrate with the Holt.
Now, of course, we're hoping that Aston Villa can make it 3 home wins out of 3 then at Villa Park. But let's look back at the last time an Italian side visited B6. Yes, a repeat of that night would be very welcome, wouldn't it, Alan? It was just clinical. 2-0 win for Aston Villa, and we pretty much saw everything we wanted to that night.
We were so at it that night, we never gave Bologna an opportunity to get in the game, really. There was maybe a 10-15 spell in the second half where they maybe just had that little bit of spell, but we soon put that to bed, and that's the way we need to start tonight. I know it's a different level of opposition, but regardless of that, that's how we need to keep the ball well, we need to move the ball quickly, and I want to see the ball in behind their fullbacks, because there's nothing worse as someone in away games in Europe that you're facing your own goalkeeper. You don't want to be doing that. We need to get that in behind them to make sure we put them under pressure, because that's exactly what we did to Bologna, and they paid the price, and let's hope we can do that tonight again.
Stiliyan, we're going to look back at some of the goals. Now, of course, John McGinn's free kick, whether it was a bit of fortune, whether or not it was just accurate play, whichever, it was still a goal that was worthy of a Champions League night.
Especially came at the right moment when Aston Villa was building the pressure. They were making every goal. It's a good goal, because you need the right goals at the right time. And this time with John McGinn, he'll just get fortunate, but that you take it. And he's been in a great form, and he's been showing that sometimes he has to sacrifice his game, but sometimes when he gets to the top of his game, he can produce moments like that.
I love goals like this, I do, I really do, because, you know, when you work on these goals and these set pieces on the training ground, I think the gaffer would always say, you put it in a dangerous area where, you know, someone looks like they're going to head it. It just gives the goalkeeper all sorts of problems. And listen, whether it was meant to be or not, it went in the back of the net and it looked a special goal for John.
It's not just that, Lee, because the boys do work on that. Because everybody has a starting, every time as a football player, you have a starting position on whatever set piece you're working on. And if your starting position is to drag somebody out the way and he can't head it out, and someone behind you can't head it out, if it bounces and has got enough curl on it that John does, then it's a worked free kick for us. Not all the time does someone have to get on the end of it. We'd rather do that, because that's what we're trying to do. But as long as John puts in a really good quality delivery, that's sometimes what you can get out of it.
And it was a night for the Johns as well, because of course John Duran again on the score sheet, and it's just something that we were really expecting of him at that time, and then in the Champions League as well. Getting those goals on the world stage for John Duran was great.
I mean, you know what is proven that he does make a difference when you come off the bench, when he get the opportunity to show what he can do, and this is what John Duran is all about. He get one or two opportunities, he'll punish you, because he's just eager to go and score goals and make sure that he makes that difference. And he have managed to do that in Bologna. And no, these 2 goals were in a space of 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes, Villa were really pushy and then managed to take those opportunities.
And we know what Villa can be like, as Stiliyan's just said there, those 10 minutes of just real high pressure then that Aston Villa can put onto other teams. And when you've got a team such as Juventus who are so resolute in defence, they're going to need those impactful plays. Yeah,
definitely. And watching a bit of Juventus this season, you know, clips and highlights, that they do like to play forward and they pick the times. I mean, coming up against an Italian side, they, as you said, you know, they like to defend, they work areas and they pick times to get forward. I know that the boy Cambiasso, who plays left back, he gets forward, where I think that could be a real key area for us this evening. If it's Leon Bailey that's out on that right hand side, that can cause problems, because listen, they're going to sit in and be compact, but that's where we need to be, as Maka says, moving the ball quickly, lots of movement in that front area, and I think will cause them problems.
Hopefully so. Anyway, that's what we're really looking forward to and looking for then from Aston Villa today as they take on Juventus. Plenty more build up to today's game though in just a few minutes.
Hey, geezer.
All right, Oz.
Let's play Villa Park.
As long as I'm left wing.
Please, Lord, just let me play for the Villa.
Pass. Do nice high line practice. To your right. Go to the right. Hold the line, Rob.
Unai, I've got this. I'm ready to play.
Who's that? Do you want me through the middle or on the left?
Sharon! Have you seen my Preds?
Number 11, the Prince of Darkness.
Who's that? The biggest frontman to ever come out of Birmingham.
This is the Emi Martinez masterclass.
We go all the way next time.
Up the Villa!
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa! Up the Villa!
Up the Villa!
Up the Villa! Up the Villa! Up the Villa!
We've got a game to play.
Oi! Go and play up your own end.
Come on, love. Leave him alone.
A British new record, 15 home wins in the league on the bounce. It's incredible. Aston Villa in the Champions League at Villa Park.
Welcome back to Matchday Live. Plenty more build-up to Aston Villa versus Juventus. But just a quick note, if you can see the QR code that is in vision now, it's also going to go around the concourse as well if you are at the stadium. Make sure you scan it. It's a really interesting campaign there. So little surprise for you and an added bonus. But back to today's game for now then. Now we're going to talk more about the opposition who have just come out behind us, Lee, and what exactly to expect from Juventus, because they've had a mixed bag in the Champions League so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think by all accounts that they haven't got a full squad to pick from, have they? They've got relentless injuries at the moment, but I think the one thing I will say about Italian sides is that they get together, they work hard, they're aggressive on their approach, so I just expect them to be the same. I mean, I've just looked around now and they look smart as ever, don't they? I mean, Stiliyan just said they've got identical clothing on, the shoes are on.
Well, you say that, the three of two are in identical shoes right now.
We said with the you didn't get the memo, did you?
No, I did not get the memo.
No, I expect them, even though they've got key players out, I expect them to be really well organised and really try and push Villa. I think they'll try and counter-attack as much as possible, but they'll try and make it hard and frustrate Villa, I feel, this evening.
And Stiliyan, we were talking about that, and Lee's just mentioned it there about how aggressive they can be. Now, they have had 2 red cards so far in the Champions League this year. Is there a disciplinary issue there?
No, I just seen the system they play, and Thiago Motta, the way he wants them to play, they're very aggressive. They do concede a lot of fouls. So I hope the set-piece coach for Villa have done his tactical preparation for the teams, because this could be crucial. And we know how important those set pieces could be for Villa, because Villa is a powerful side and they can score goals. And this could be something very important tonight.
And it's going to be a really key game with Juventus coming back to Villa Park as well, Alan. They haven't been back here since 1983. Some of the names, I bet you can recall them. Zoftadelli, Platini. Some players in that lineup that day.
Never heard of him.
No, what did they ever amount to?
Never heard of him. Listen, I think that over the whole international arena of football, I think they're recognised as one of the bigger clubs in the world, Juventus, you know, and that's where we're kicking now. You know, we're in the Champions League, and you expect to have big games. The biggest thing, when you said about the disciplinary the thing with the couple of red cards, so they beat Eindhoven, they beat Leipzig. They beat Leipzig with 10 men actually. They won 3-2. Then they got beat by Stuttgart, and then only drew 1-1 with Lille. And they had a couple of injuries that night as well. So they're certainly there for the taking for us to get a result against them. The red cards, I'm a bit like, listen, you can blow on somebody and pick up 2 yellows nowadays. So I'm not really that mad on have they a disciplinary problem. But in that term, we have to use that to our advantage. If you've got the opportunity to, let's draw a foul or know somebody's behind you and take. That's the kind of clever football that I expect the lads to be having to deal with, and that's what we'll have to do. So with a bit of luck, they get another red card tonight. We beat them, but regardless of that, I just that we start the game really well, and that then draws its own pressure on any away team, Kate. And that's what we have to do to this team tonight. Because don't worry about the atmosphere. It's going to be brilliant. But they deal with that as well most weekends.
And someone who would know this atmosphere really well would have been Douglas Luiz. Now, we haven't got the lineup yet, but we're not obviously expecting to see him tonight because he has been set back with an injury. Now, Lee, he was one of the star summer signings going to Juventus. It's been a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, it has. It hasn't quite worked out for him, has it? And I know he's picked up injuries himself. And listen, I think, what he did at the football club, I mean, everyone, I think, would applaud him this evening if he is to feature. But, he was a key and instrumental player in that success that we had last season. So, to see him back, listen, it'd be great to see him back here. Not playing as well as what he did last season, of course. So, and if his form hasn't been too great this season, you wouldn't mind him playing. But I'm not sure whether he will. But listen, players move on. They feel it's for bigger and better things. The big fee that come with it as well obviously helped the club. We bought players in off the back of that. And listen, I think that what we've done recruitment-wise, we've worked well with what money we brought into the football club.
And Juventus, in terms of star players then, Stiliyan, that we're expecting to see tonight. Now, you and I were having a discussion before we went live, the fact that they're just lacking that attacking presence because they're all injured, basically. So who are you expecting to see come to the fore for Juventus tonight?
Well, they only got a few options. Yildiz, Wea, Conceição, we've seen him for Portugal, really direct, really tricky, really makes things from nothing. And this is where we really have to be careful, because Thiago Motta does play a certain way. He does adapt to the opposition. He does go man-for-man pressing. Can he afford to do that with that many big players missing? We have to go and see, but Villa have to be very careful, because what the opposition will do against Villa, they'll try to use that space, and the space behind. We know that Villa do like to risk. They leave a lot of space, and it's incredible to see Juventus have pace to hurt Villa.
It's interesting actually, because of the way Unai does set up with that sort of high back line, and watching how Juventus play and they try and expose teams, that's where they try and they have scored goals from. So whether Unai goes a little bit different tonight and maybe sits in and soaks it up a little bit, it'd be interesting to see how he shapes up.
The gaffer's been the governor with that though, isn't he? Because he did it at Sevilla. He's got, he's kind of like, don't know, the guru in Europe. He seems just to have that little knack to know when to play, whatever formation he wants to play, and also the information he gives to the players is exactly what you're talking about, wee man, which is, we have to worry. I'm talking about us putting them under pressure. We have to when we have the ball. In fact, when we were attacking on Saturday, we looked actually a little vulnerable when we lost the ball. We need to be careful with that tonight, because they will punish us for sure if we do that again.
I think that's the bonus of having Unai as well, isn't it? He's worked in Europe, and this is completely different from the Premier League.
Yeah.
Coming into Europe, the style completely different. So he's a serial winner in Europe, and he'll know how to approach this game this evening.
And all of everything that comes with European football now, all three of us, or four of us I should say, have already discussed about the atmosphere that's created here. Now both of you two have been on our podcast already as two of our first guests. Alan and I are very grateful for that. Billy, you spoke about it last time out on the podcast, so let's take a quick look.
The European nights at Villa Park were fantastic.
It's just different, and everything's different. Because before games like that, you feel different. Because there's so much more on the line, and there's not going to be a standing. There won't be 1 inch of space at Villa Park. No. And everybody's like sucking the ball into the net almost. It
is. It's something that you just cannot, you cannot explain. It's a different atmosphere. It's a different vibe. It's phenomenal. It really is, because like I said, when Big Ron was manager and Kingy had then they played Inter Milan, I was a ball boy. So I witnessed being around the pitch and knowing how different it was. But to play in that game against Atletico Madrid home. Well, away, it was the first leg. We lost 1-0, and then that game where Stan scored an absolute screamer at the whole, and when that goal went in, again, I've got goosebumps that I can just feel that moment. It was, and I had a good game myself, where I was part of the goals, but when that goal went in, it was like I've never ever witnessed atmosphere like that in my life.
The alley strip.
Welcome back. These are continuing their conversation, so at least they know that that they're having a great time anyway. But more importantly, though, than their conversation, we have got team news to bring you. So, starting with Aston Villa, as you would expect, Emi Martinez in goal. At right back, Matty Cash is coming back in. Diego Carlos in the centre alongside Pau Torres. Luca Dean over on the left. Leon Bailey. Now Kamara gets his start alongside Tielemans and John McGinn in midfield. Rodgers just playing behind Watkins, as you would expect. And in terms of Juventus, we have Di Gregorio in goal, Cambiasso at left back, Gatti, Kalulu and Savona making up the back line. Thuram and Locatelli in midfield. Then we've got Yildiz, Coop Miners and Conceição feeding through to Weah up front. So there is some team news to bring you. Alan, in terms of Aston Villa, though, with that Kamara getting his start, that's great to see. I wasn't expecting that.
It's not great to see. It's vital. Genuinely, I was expecting him to be okay, hopefully to play today. I think he'd be a really important player for us, sitting and protecting, as well as being able to play and drive us forward. I think it lets then John get a little bit further forward to even help Morgan Rodgers to get the ball forward again, because he's a good player, Bouba Kamara. I think we're a better team with him, and I genuinely do. He'll be such an important player for us tonight.
So many important players. Matty Cash is getting his 150th appearance for Villa as well. I mean, he's been such a servant for the team and the club then, and for him to come back from another slight setback as well, it's good to see. Stiliyan.
Yeah, strong performer, one of the key players for Villa. He's been really strong every time he's been asked to put a performance. He gives the team different dimension. He's quick, he's powerful, he recovers well when we lose the ball, and this is something that is very important, and we've missed that, and with him being struggling a little bit to stay fit for longer term of the games, he becomes a problem, but it's great to see him coming back tonight.
We need him to play in terms of, I think he's a European football player, Matty Cash. I think he looks to get forward. You look at fullbacks for any team now, you take part in the game. When we've got the ball, he's not necessarily our fullback or a wing. He's got to push up and make sure we push him, a bit of pressure on him. I think Matty's good at that, and that switch ball from either Lucadini or Pal, who's very good at it, in behind the fullback. Doesn't necessarily mean to be for Leon Bailey. If Leon comes in off the touchline, it's to get Matty Cash down that line. That's what we need to be looking to do.
I think it's a real good point as well, Macca makes, because without them having a real identified striker this evening, you know, they're going to play with a false 9 or 2 even, is that we need to try and expose them areas, because basically the two centre-halves tonight, I wouldn't say should have a stroll, but they shouldn't have an awful lot to come up against. So that's where the fullbacks have to really push their wide men further forward, and that's where the overloads I said about Bailey, and now that I know that Matty Cash is playing out on that right-hand side, I feel that's going to be a key area for us tonight.
Definitely so, and well broken down as well then. So good news in terms of the Aston Villa front then, slightly questioning then therefore for the Juventus side of it with the injuries that they have as well. But we're going to reflect more so on the tactical approach to today's game in just a few. But for now though, we have a deal for you, because of course Black Friday is just around the corner, and Aston Villa aren't about to miss out on providing you with a deal as well. So delighted to announce for the unbelievable support that they are unveiling some of the best deals yet from Wednesday, 27th of November today. You will be able to shop Villa merchandise online in the Villa store, hospitality and tickets, memberships, much more in the biggest Black Friday sale ever. Search Aston Villa Black Friday now and sign up to be the first to receive those deals. Now, as is the case with every single game, Unai Emery sat down the day prior to chat to the media.
I think he was as a player. I worked with him 2 years, and he was very, very competitive. He was very, very intelligent. He was a top player, skills, physically strong, mentally strong. And now as a coach, he started being successful, and his progression is being fantastic. And I think the Juventus now as well is in the process to build the team, but competitive. I think they are playing very good football. Of course, not yet all the idea he want to set there, but last year with Bologna he had a very good job, and before as well with Spezia. And I appreciate him as a person, as I appreciate him as a professional when he was a player, and now I appreciate his work as a manager. Now we are in Champions League, tomorrow the match. They are very important 3 points, yes, of course. But even if we are not winning and we are taking 1 point, is good. Because in the table, we are at the moment in the top 8 position. And our objective, what is to be in the next round. Of course, if we are with the possibility to get top 8 position, we are going to try to get it. Tomorrow, if we are winning, we can maybe be contender to get it. But today, not. And Juventus is the favorite for tomorrow in front of us, because they have more experiences, they are a very good team, they have very good players, and they are favorite to be in the top 8. Enjoy, but we want to enjoy competing, and we want to enjoy winning. And we are here in Champions League trying to be consistent. And consistent in this competition this year, and of course, hopefully we can play a lot of years again in Champions League. But now we are, the reality is, now is the moment. We have to enjoy, we have to compete, we have to face tomorrow Juventus, we have to try to face them being competitive, and watching how we can face them being close or far of them in our capacity as well to compete against one team like Juventus, more or less favorite to win this competition.
Yes, always great to hear from Unai. And he made some really valid points throughout that lead, but he did keep reiterating that Juventus are favourites tonight. What is that? Is that a bit mind games?
Maybe. I mean, listen, Juventus are, as we said, a massive football club. They've played Champions League, they played in Europe time after again. So that's probably where I think Unai's coming from in that situation. I mean, I don't think so. And like you said, has to be a bit of mind games. It surely has to be. I mean, coming here to Villa Park, you know, you want to put the onus on them a little bit, being Juventus, the so-called big club. But this is a massive put it against them today.
Huge club, as we know, Aston Villa, and really stamping themselves upon the European stage, Stiliyan. But Unai started that press conference clip that we just showed there, talking about his opposite number, Thiago Motta. He was full of praise for him.
Yeah, of course, and he's done a great job. I mean, if you look at it, his development every year he moves on and he achieves. I mean, he's done a great job at Bologna. He qualified them for the Champions League, and he goes to Juventus. He installed a very different style of play. He brought back players that fit that style. Obviously, he's been unlucky with injuries, and I agree with Lee. At Villa Park, at the moment, with Unai Emery, the way team is playing, I don't think Juventus are the favourite. I think Aston Villa are the favourite. And adding on all the injuries that Juventus have, I mean, Aston Villa have a big bench that can change. There's players in the bench that can change the game. Looking at Juventus, this game, you know, we're in the stage of the season where the players do get tired. They get the fatigue, and you have to use that. And I think Unai Emery knows that. But, you know, we've heard it from many managers talking about favourites. When you win it, you're the favourite.
And you talk, yeah, definitely so. You talk about players off of the bench. Now, one player that isn't getting a start today is Ross Barkley. But as Stiliyan just said there, Alan, the fact that you can call upon players such as Ross Barkley off of the bench, again, just shows the strength of numbers. And of course, he scored against Palace at the weekend.
Yeah, I think we've spoken quite a lot about the fact that we need that when we're going to be playing in Premier League. And then, of course, we've got Champions League games. And I was delighted for him to get a goal, because we expect, listen, if you're going to play in the middle of the park for Aston Villa, you're going to get chances. And that means getting the box, or certainly anytime the ball comes out of the box, you've got to be ready to take advantage of that. And I'm delighted for him to get a goal. I want him to try and get double figures, would be fantastic. And I think there's more to come from Ross yet. I don't think he's at absolute full speed yet. I think he's got a little bit more to come. I know he's never been that quick, but in terms of actually moving the ball into areas with players and getting and giving and being a good passer of the ball, then that's what we want. But certainly in terms of that one, I mean, that's the first time I've ever seen him score with his head, to be quite honest.
You would say that.
But I can't wait to see him at Bodymore this week. When I say to him, I'm like, seriously, what was all that about? But yeah, absolutely fantastic.
What would you like to see him improving in his game?
I want him to be able to. I want him to be able to go past people. You know, soon we get the ball and the ball's in front of him, I want him to move the ball, and I want him to run into that area there. That's an easier pass for him to pass into the middle of the park. When you have the ball at times, although you're happy to go left and right sometimes, we've got to go that way, Stiliyan.
Because he's got to be.
Well, no. Well, no. Well, but Ross can then, all right. But I want to see him drive. It's not just Morgan Rogers runs with the ball and Leon, etc., etc. I want him to drive from the middle of the park. Because, by the way, we've got Kamara here tonight. I know he's not playing tonight, but we've got defenders that can, you know, if he loses the ball, I'd rather he lost the ball trying to take somebody on than trying to thread something that's just a World Cup ball that's never really on. We may as well keep possession and drive forward with it. That's what I want to see him do.
I think we had that last season, didn't we? I think a lot like John maybe went and played as like a 10 at times, and they doubled up and played like a box further forward, and that's where I can totally see where you're coming from. I mean, Ross has got it all to do to go and have that stability of playing in there, hasn't he, weekend? But we've got so much strength in depth in that midfield area as well, you know, you must admit, and it's great to see that when he is playing, he's making an impact as he did Saturday. So, you know, listen, it's going to be one of them where the team's going to change an awful lot because of the relentless amount of games with Champions League and obviously the Premier League and cup competitions.
And to provide those through balls, then of course Ollie Watkins up front, who has been so reliable as ever. We say it about him all the time. And again, Lee, he scored against Crystal Palace there at the weekend. Good to see him back on the score sheet.
Do you know what? I'm so glad, honestly. I mean, listen, I've got so much respect and admiration for Ollie Watkins. I really do, for what he does on the pitch. And sometimes it goes unseen. And you know, as fans, I can see frustration because when you're a centre forward, you know, you're looked at for goals. And what he did last season was quite remarkable. It really was. He led the front line brilliantly. I think this season's what's really stood out for me is that we've got John Duran, haven't we? Which I actually said, if Ollie's not doing it, he needs maybe a little bit of a push and someone on his shoulder. You know yourself, mate.
A competition.
And it's brilliant.
But you can't do it on your own.
No,
you can't, and you can't just settle. Sorry to interrupt, Lee. I was going to say, do you not think he looks more since the goal against Holland in the semi-final? And the goals he's got now, I think he's starting to believe he's a top striker. Yeah. You have to have a little bit of thought. The goal on Saturday's a belter. Because he reads the ring, he gets to the ball, his first touch is excellent, it's a great finish. I think he thinks he's a Champions League player now. I genuinely do. But you've got to in here. You've got to in here. The players are loving him. The players love Ollie Watkins. We all love him. But I need him to think, this is exactly the place I should be playing, and this is where I want to show how good I am. And it's another good opportunity for him tonight with a bit of luck.
He should be in a dressing room.
Starring, isn't it? I know, giving the speech.
I know, I'm trying to remember. Yeah. If you and I are in there right now and we're sitting there, we're putting our shorts on, we're tying our boots on, I'm already saying to you, hey, remember when something happens, this will happen, and we have to remember. So I'm trying to think of us when we're players. So I put myself in Ollie's position, and I'm like, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and look after yourself and go and show everybody that doesn't think you should be there and go and prove them wrong.
That confidence, that competition as well, everything that hopefully is going to be driving Ollie Watkins to yet another level after he's already operating at such a high level already, as we know. Now, one of the benefits of Champions League games is that as well as the manager ahead of the game in terms of their press conference, they are also always joined by a player. This time it was Pau Torres.
We are in a good way in the Champions League this season. We started really well. Of course, we lost a good opportunity against Club Brugge. But here at home, we are feeling comfortable. We know that as well, like Bayern Munich, so Juventus as well are favorites for tomorrow. But we know that if we are in our highest level, focus 100%, we can beat them. So we are trying to get that win tomorrow. For me as a player, I want to play against the best players. I know Vlahovic is one of the best strikers in Europe. I played against him just when he arrived to Juventus with Villarreal. He scored against us. He's a really good player, but if he is not available for tomorrow, for sure another good players could play tomorrow. I don't know, Timo Weah or different players. So we are working during this week those two options for them, like play with a striker or play with two number 10s. So we are ready for any option. It's special as for us and as well for the supporters. They were waiting many years to feel as well this competition again. We started really well, giving them happy nights here in Villa Park, and we want to enjoy with them, give them a victory after a long time. So yes, we are focused on that, and we want to enjoy with them. For us, Juventus is always a special team. They are an historical team playing Europe every season, usually winning titles each season. Now is Douglas Luiz playing there. I know he now is in a difficult moment, but he's a really good player. I spoke a lot with him about the club, about how he's feeling now there. But for us, they are a winner team with a winner mentality. We know that tomorrow will be a difficult game. And as I told before, they are favorites at the beginning. But we want to enjoy with our supporters, and we will try to beat them.
Yeah, it's a cracking benefit of the Champions League that we get to hear from a player in the press conference the day prior to a game. And Pau Torres, Stiliyan, he had plenty of interesting points there, basically saying that no matter how Juventus set up, they're going to be ready and adapted to it.
Yeah, there will be. I mean, we touched on a little bit about Unai Emery and his knowledge of the game, and he faced so many good managers. He knows what to expect. He's preparing the team for the possible scenarios, and the players are ready now. That's why Kamara is in there. That player with the striker, he can protect, but they've played a false nine. He can be that little extra protection for the back two centre backs. So they're ready. Aston Villa are ready. They face big enough teams now. They've played enough big games now. They're prepared for games like that, and they're ready to produce another great performance tonight.
And Alan, it was almost as though Pau Torres and Unai Emery had spoken about it beforehand, because Pau mentioned a fair few times that Juventus are favourites as well. Yeah. So between the pair of these two, they've really put the pressure on the opposition.
Well, I suppose Thiago Motta did take the bait, because he said, listen, it's mind games, it's I don't know, it's whatever you want to call it. But I know why the gaffer's saying it, to be honest, but I think I think they're respectful of each other, but certainly in terms of what Paolo is expecting tonight, he knows exactly how difficult it's going to be tonight, and he's going to be important because he is one of the top. He needs to be speaking to Diego Carlos that he doesn't switch off, don't get dragged into that space if they're not pushing MD up in the two of them, and let the boys deal with it in there and make sure they're aware for anything over the top. So listen, they'll be ready to rock and roll. Listen, what are we at? 7:15. But honestly, I'm like,
Should we let him go?
I want to get into the dressing room and just remind the lads, come on boys, let's go. We're ready to go. But listen, he's going to be such an important player for us, as of course he is. He's one of the top defenders and he's one of the major players we've got.
And Lee, in terms of the defence, now there is going to be the pressure, of course, on Aston Villa's defence. Juventus have been struggling to score, but Pau Torres, he's been fantastic though. I know that, like you say, it's been difficult for Aston Villa to keep clean sheets so far this season, but Pau Torres has been instrumental in the back line.
Yeah, he has. I mean, not just defensively. I mean, obviously he reads the game fantastically, but it's, you know, it's the way he drives out with the ball. He picks that big diagonal pass that we see time and time again, and he does force Villa on the front foot. You know, he looks to play into areas where we can get high up the pitch, get forward and cause team problems. You know, he's been a fantastic signing for the football club. I think when he first come, there was a few question marks whether he was quick enough, but listen, you don't have to be quick in this day and age, do you? It's all about having the knowledge, and that's what he's got. He's a fantastic player, and as Mac has said, I think his experience alone tonight will be so key for Villa.
Great to hear from him, wasn't it, as we'll say. Now, another one of the fantastic initiatives of the Champions League is the UEFA League, where the under-19s of each of the competing teams in the league face off against each other. So, of course, Aston Villa were playing host to the under-19s from Juventus. Earlier on today, Jack Woodward talks you through the action.
Young driving into the penalty area. Excellent run. Is there something at the end of it? Cuts it back. Oh, unbelievable.
I think you'd rather.
How did that not go in? Great work by Young.
No. They're hardly heated seats, are they?
Got such a positive attitude here.
Panuco
now with the pass for Pugno. Pugno's in. Plays the cut back. Glorious chance, and it's into the roof of the net. And Juventus have the lead. He wasn't going to miss. Drilled in by Lorenzo Biliboc, who had a glorious opportunity earlier on that he skied over the bar. This time he couldn't miss. It was really well created by the Juventus juniors. Yeah, we've passed the hour mark, so we're into the final third of the contest as Vaca carries the ball forward. They've worked it well. Here comes the cross, and it's the skipper playing it back for Vaca, who steers the shot in. That's a great save. Brilliant stuff from Sam Lewis. And here they come again. Biliboc. Has he got another goal up his sleeve? He has. Brilliant finish. And they're 2 up. They've doubled their advantage. And what a player he is proving. Really good finish that. Moving in from the left-hand side. And Lewis couldn't keep it out this time. It's tough on Villa. Here's Hammings now for ball, and space opens up for Tristan Rowe. Will he go for goal? He will. Tristan Rowe, good save. Keeper got down to that one. Rowe, that was going inside the post for certain. It just opened up for the fullback there. Got into a really good position, struck it low along the turf.
Yeah, not exactly the result we wanted, really. A 2-0 defeat then to Juventus. But Lee, it's a fantastic initiative for the youngsters to get this opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's a base and a platform for them to sort of build onto for the future, really. And it's a big experience for them, isn't it? Playing against sides of that calibre. I mean, as a youngster, we never got to have that opportunity. So it's great that they get to go and do it. Obviously, the result wasn't great, but this is all about experience for the youngsters.
It is, isn't it? And like you say, it's very different though, isn't it, Stiliyan? Going across to Europe, to other teams as well, having them welcome, a whole different style of play that you're going to experience at a young age.
And it's great education to see how the other coaches work, and how just making sure that you understand where you're at what you do right, what you do wrong. And I think through that competition that you can see who can actually step up, who can be different, who can go and challenge themselves, because don't get me wrong, not many players make into the first team, but they do understand there is more opportunity even abroad, not just in England, and it's a great opportunity for them to see how everybody else work around Europe and around the world.
Yeah, really nicely said as well. Now, if you missed it earlier on, we have got team news to bring you. It was pretty breaking previously, but just to reiterate, starting with Aston Villa. Now, Emi Martinez in goal. Matty Cash is coming in at right back. Diego Carlos and Pau Torres making up the centre of defence. Luca Dean over on the left. Boubacar Kamara comes in for his start alongside Yuri Tielemans in that double pivot. Leon Bailey on the right. Morgan Rogers sat behind. Ollie Watkins up front. And, of course, John McGinn. Now, in terms of Juventus, Di Gregorio is in goal. Cambiasso, Kalulu, Gatti and Savona in the back line. Thuram and Locatelli playing it through for Yildiz, Koopmeiners, Conceição and Weah up front. So they are the two teams, if you haven't seen them just yet. But lads, it's pretty much time for us to wrap up. You will be wrap up literally at this point, to be honest, because it is cold down here, Alan. So all I require from you now is a prediction, please.
1-0 Aston Villa.
Oh, okay, a tight game then. I can understand
that.
that.
It's going to be tight, 1-0 Villa.
Stiliyan?
I'll go 2-2.
2-2. Okay, expecting some goals. I was not anticipating
2-2.
that. Right, okay, entertaining game according to Stiliyan. Lee?
Yes, and I'm going to go 2-0. I'm going to drop some goal scorers. I'm going to go Ollie Watkins to score and Morgan Rogers.
I tell you what, you can come again, providing us with goal scorers as well. He's showing you two up now, the more experienced match day pundits.
I'm too cold. I just want goals.
They want to finish up.
Well,
okay, he's never been right before, but I would be delighted if he gets it.
If he's correct this time, he'll be right for forevermore. Now, Stiliyan, you say about going and getting warm, you will be on co-commentary duty alongside Mark Regan, so you're not going to be all that warm. Haven't got heated seats, I'm afraid to tell you.
I've got heated seats and some soup up there.
Someone get him a hot water bottle.
Yeah,
but lads, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you so much for all of your time, all of your predictions and insights as ever. But that is everything from us then at Pitchside. So enjoy the game and we'll speak to you again very soon. Mic drop.
Hey, geezer.
All right, Oz.
Let's play Villa Park.
As long as